Have you ever just stopped to think about how incredible it is that we can talk? I mean, really think about it. You take a breath, and without even trying, you turn that puff of air into a story, or a question, or a joke. It feels so simple, but what's actually happening inside our bodies? Well, it's one of the most amazing and complex ballets in all of biology. So that's the big question we're going to tackle. How on earth do we take that one single breath, just simple air, and weave it into the rich, complex tapestry of human speech? Let's dive in and break down this everyday miracle piece by piece.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the amazing sound system that's built right into all of us. Then we'll look at the 3 basic sounds that are the building blocks of every word you say. From there, we'll get into what happens when that system runs into trouble, exploring speech disorders, their impact, and what the path forward looks like.
Right, first things first, let's look at the hardware. I want you to think of your ability to speak as this super sophisticated personal sound system. It's got a power supply, a sound modulator, and a sound shaper. Each part has a really critical job to do.
And it really boils down to this 3-step process. Step 1, you need power. That comes from your lungs, providing all the air. Step 2, that air goes to the sound modulator, your larynx or your voice box, which messes with the airflow. And finally, step 3, the sound shaper. That's your vocal tract, which molds that raw sound into actual words.
So here's how it works in practice. Your lungs push out a stream of air. Then your larynx, with its vibrating vocal folds, gets to work. It can create this buzzing sound for vowels or kind of a whispery, noisy sound for other things. Then, your vocal tract, basically your throat, mouth, and nose, acts like a complex filter, shaping that raw sound into the specific words we all recognize.
Now, what's really wild is that all the incredible different sounds we can make are built from just 3 fundamental sources. You can think of it like your own personal sound palette, the primary colors you use to paint every single word.
To make this super clear, let's take a simple everyday word, shop. We're going to break it down sound by sound. And hey, try saying it slowly yourself. Sh, ah, p, and see if you can feel where each part comes from.
Okay, first sound, sh. This comes from what we call a noisy source. It's pure turbulence. You're forcing air through a really narrow gap in your vocal tract. In this case, between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. And that creates that classic sh, shing sound.
Next up, we have the O sound. This comes from a periodic source. This time, your vocal folds in your larynx start vibrating incredibly fast, chopping the airflow into these little periodic puffs. That's what creates that humming, musical tone that's the foundation for all our vowel sounds.
And finally, we've got the P sound. This is an implosive source. It's pretty cool, actually. You completely seal off your vocal tract, in this case with your lips, build up air pressure right behind them, and then pop. You release it in a sudden burst. It's like a tiny, perfectly controlled explosion.
And the coolest part? We can actually see these sounds. These images here are called spectrograms. The one on the left gives us a super detailed look at timing. See those thin vertical stripes? Each one of those is a single puff of air from your vibrating vocal cords. And on the right, the narrowband view shows us frequency. Those thick horizontal bars? Those are the harmonics that give a vowel its unique character. So, we've got this beautiful, elegant system for making sound. But it's also incredibly delicate. So what happens when any part of this intricate machine gets disrupted? This is where we shift gears from the pure mechanics of speech to the very human experience of speech disorders.
Because when this system falters, it can lead to a speech impediment. And the reasons why are, well, they're complicated. It can be anything from genetics and neurology to a physical injury or a medical condition.
Let's look at some of the main factors, especially for kids. Sometimes it's genetic. If speech issues run in the family, there's a higher chance a child might have one too. Other times it's neurological. Conditions like autism can affect communication. Even something like hearing loss plays a huge role. I mean, it's hard to make sounds you can't hear clearly. And we absolutely can't overlook emotional stress, which can make something like stuttering so much worse.
And the biological causes don't end there. You can have physical, structural problems like a cleft palate. There could be brain damage from an injury or a condition like cerebral palsy, which messes with the signals going to the speech muscles. And some medical conditions, like ALS or Parkinson's, can weaken those muscles over time, leading to disorders like dysarthria.
And I want you to look at this number because it shows just how common this is. We're talking about 1 in every 12 children in the U.S. dealing with some kind of speech, voice, or language disorder. This isn't some rare issue. It's a real and significant part of many, many people's lives.
But, biology is only one piece of the puzzle. The environment a child is in and their emotional state play a massive role in how their speech develops and how they cope with the disorder.
This quote from the source material just nails it. Think about it. Positive, encouraging conversations are like fuel for a child's language skills. But negative stuff, like being bullied or just not getting encouragement, that can put up some serious roadblocks and really hurt a child's confidence.
And the psychological fallout can be huge. A kid with a speech impediment might start feeling anxious about talking at all. It can lead to low self-esteem, and eventually they might just start pulling back from social situations to avoid being made fun of. It creates this awful feedback loop that's really hard to break.
And this is exactly what that vicious cycle looks like. A child gets bullied for how they talk, so they talk less. But speaking is a skill, right? It needs practice. So by withdrawing, they miss out on the very practice they need to improve, which just reinforces the speech issue and all the bad feelings that come with it. So, with all of these challenges, what's the path forward? Is it actually possible to overcome speech impediments? The answer, thankfully, is often yes. But that journey looks different for just about everyone.
See, the chance of an impediment just going away on its own really depends on what it is. For example, stuttering actually has a high chance of resolving naturally as a child gets older. But voice disorders, which often have a physical cause, those almost always need some kind of direct intervention. It just goes to show how critical getting the right kind of support is.
And that's the key. For any challenge that sticks around, interventions like speech therapy are absolutely crucial. Speech-language pathologists can provide tailored strategies to improve not just clarity and fluency, but also that all-important confidence to speak up. Getting that help early and staying consistent with it can change everything.
So, we've gone all the way from a single puff of air to the complex machinery of sound and the very real human impact when that system gets disrupted. I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that we understand the absolute miracle it takes for someone to speak, how can we all become more patient, more empathetic, and ultimately, just better listeners?